All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another breakdown. Today, we're doing a fun one. Lots of layers, anamorphic, lighting from the outside, the importance of windows, where to put windows inside of location scenes. This one is going to be fun. We're going to check it out. Let's go. So this is, I think it's for a bank, some sort of fake diamondy bank thing. Lots of layers. This is classic framework lighting all throughout. You can see just how down everything is, how low it is over here as we scroll through this thing. Baby walking, people climbing, it's dark, there's a smoke, there's some sort of fire down below, he needs to get out. Here we go time for this gentleman. Yes, please, I will have shears and no fill light, please. Can we do that scene? Yes, we can, and it's still smoking. He's struggling to run out of there. And this guy lost his job. Why is it so sad? Oh man, we're gonna have to do a whole breakdown. This is like a cinematographer's best friend, the old classroom style lighting, right? You're gonna get your big lights out. You're gonna light from the windows that you can't see, which is important in today's breakdown actually, because this is just another time that we see it inside of this commercial, right? Anytime you start seeing these techniques multiple times in these montage ads, you start to think, wait, maybe they are doing it on purpose. Maybe this actually looks better, right? It's not just an accident that these things keep happening. But these are awesome scenes to do. There's lots of wood or like dark textures in the background in the old style classrooms. You go to the new style ones and they're like all white and terrible. Whereas these old style ones with the seats, first of all, we have so much haze inside of this room. Then we're lighting through the windows that we can't see. We're on the shadow side to create this darkness, nice fall off there. And then if we scroll through it, whoop, same thing. Look where he's being lit from. Oh, the window that you can't see. And now you can see the window up there, pretty hot, but we're actually lighting it from over here with a light on the inside, right? That's how you get around it. As you move closer, you can start to move things inside. But when you're in the big wide, everything from outside coming this way. And this isn't even the best example of this classroom interior style stuff. We'll have to do a whole breakdown on my favorites because they can look really, really well done. Okay, we just keep scrolling through, people playing basketball. Here we go, and this is the scene that we're gonna talk about, right? This nice little, you can even see it in the handheld movements, right? These 3-shot sequences, wide. Now we can't see some stuff. Now we're in close. Big wide, and super tight, right? It's like the same sequence over and over and over again. You're gonna have your big wide, so you set people where you're actually doing this from. I think even in the school, it's the same exact thing, right? We're gonna start in just behind our man. It's a little bit, where are we? What are we doing? Out here for this second shot, and then third on the hands. We're gonna do the same in this little sequence here. So this is what I often talk about with reels, right? If you can do everything in threes, it just gives you a chance to show off all of your skills. You can show the wide, which is the hardest one to do. Everybody knows it. You can do the wide, and then you can bump in for your little close-up, and then you go macro, where you go your medium shot or something like that. So let's take a look at this if we go full screen. So this is the frame that we want to talk about. First things first, right? Even if you're doing a commercial with zero budget, is you get a cool location. And this is a great location. Not only does it look cool, right? You got lots of things. I can't imagine this was all dressed just for this commercial. It's just a cool location to begin with. The second most important thing is the window orientation to the action and how we are going to block this to make it work for the framework lighting. So what we know from looking at all of our past videos is that we want the action and the camera to be shooting along the exterior windows when on location, right? We want to be along them. We don't want to be looking into the windows this way because we're going to bring all of our light from outside, right? Because light from outside, big, giant lights from outside look the most natural because that's what we're used to seeing. It's really hard to screw up if you light from the outside with the biggest possible lamps that you can get. But there are some caveats, right? There are some things that you have to look out for. Number one, you can't have, in a scene like this, you can't just have a single window in the location. That's not going to work because you have to tie in the windows that you can see in the frame with the window that you're actually lighting from, right? You're lighting from this window, the window that you can't see, blocked beautifully by this thing. There's a giant light over here that is smushing all the light this way, smushing the light this way, right? And it's meant to be like, oh, it's just the same light as the windows that are being shown in the shot. Look at how down they are. The same thing happening over there, when in fact, no, this is where all of the level is coming from. You can see it there. You can see these little highlights there on the face. That's all coming from over here, the window that we cannot see. So we're getting depth from shooting along the windows, but more importantly, we're setting ourselves up to be able to light from there. The other thing that you have to do once you say, okay, Well, now here we can shoot along the windows, so this is good. We're gonna place the action here. Then we need to talk about the blocking of these two. You can't have this guy on this side of the table, because if he's here, he's blocking, wait, he's got no light. This is a little face here. He's got no light on this side of his face, so he's gonna be all dark, and the back of his head is going to be lit up, right? Which is no good. We don't want that. We wanna see this guy. We only have so many seconds inside of the commercial. Boom, we need to identify. Person, yes, he's with her, and her light is not getting blocked. So we get these little edges, little edge, and then darkness this way, where it doesn't matter. Nobody cares what the back of you look like, right? People identify with faces, with eyes. That's what they want to see. So we've got table. Look at the orientation of the table towards the camera, right? We're running alongside of it. Then, not only are we running alongside the building, we talked about the windows already, but look at outside. So we've scheduled this, not so that the sun is over here and it's blasting into this background, right? Because if it was, that means we have to get so much more level inside. And we want to set ourselves up for the least amount of light that we need to get through this window. Because the big lights are expensive. They cost a lot. It's hard to set up. It's a pain in the ass for the generator. All those things. This becomes really, really expensive and really hard to do. So if you're on a budget and you're trying to set yourself up for a time of day out there when you're looking out that way that you don't have to compete against full sun, because that's a lot of level. Next, we talked about the orientation, we talked about the blocking, all of these little things here, these little layer development items, right? You're just increasing the depth, which increases the interest. We're not even talking about the practical lighting yet. Just the elements. Look at this thing, like movers, plastic here. This stuff is like a cinematographer's best friend, right? This is in shot. This is much like curtains and shears. You're in shot, you're able to put things that can be seen by the camera that will enhance the contrast, light to dark, to make things a little bit more obscure. You can't see what's under there. It's just this big blob of lightness in this really darkened down image. So that's what, we're just adding layers. This little pole here shooting through this thing, all this stuff in the foreground here, all these little elements. Then we add warm practicals just to heat things up a little bit. Here, again, practical. You can see there's a little reflection of something up there. I don't know if that thing's actually on or if that's just reflecting one of these things that is pointing up there. But these are just for show, right? They're not actually lighting anything. They're just to create little points of interest. Same thing with what's going on back here. These little sunspots. Now, maybe these are real, right? Maybe the sun is over there because it's definitely not over here lighting this way. So maybe the sun is over here, but we're gonna block that off of our talent and then we're gonna light our talent with our own lights so that we can control the exact level and the softness and all that kind of stuff. So this is really just to create interest back there. So shoot along the window. Make sure you have windows in the background so it will sell the idea that this is, oh, it's so natural. Without these windows in the background, this light starts to feel really unnatural because your eye doesn't have anything to balance it against. And then the whole goal is here to make these little spots, make that little contrast punch, make this almost the brightest thing in the image. If not the brightest, one of the brightest things. So your eye is immediately drawn there. Then of course we're using the fall off, we're using the focal length of the lens and the blocking inside of the space, right? Again, creating depth, L of the wall, and then we're running along the wall this way. Windows open, add as many elements as you can. Like this is, if we're talking about framework, this is like step 4, 5. We've gotten through so much here. We've got the right angle, we got the right time of day, we got the right light, we've got the right blocking, we've got the right lens, we've peppered in elements in the foreground, we've got our little practicals. This is well planned, this is not just show up and shoot this. This is really well done, and kudos to Rick Zhang, I think, is the cinematographer on this. So very nicely done, and lots more to talk about in this commercial, but we're not gonna do it in this video. Oh, I will say, so once you get this shot up, right, you're lighting from over here, we're on this side of the line. We're on the dark side of the line. We can shoot any shot on this side of the line now, right? As long as it's not looking directly at our lighting window over here, we are basically ready to go. The only thing we need to do to move from this location here to bump in and do a close-up of these two is we're gonna put a little 4x piece of diffusion over here to make the light even softer and to be in more control of it, because now you can imagine if I'm sitting at the camera right here in this shot, like, oh man, it would be better if the key light just moved a little bit this way, upstage, right? More, so we got less light on this side of the face. Well, that's like, okay, get everybody on the walkie-talkie, start moving the light, you gotta unlock all the wheels, and it's a giant 18K, and you gotta push it around, it's a huge pain. Once we get in here, and we're this close, and the diffusion is just here, you know, it's somebody that you can reach out and touch, and you can say, hey, 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 move that diffusion. What are you doing? No, wrap it around more. And then you can easily slap them more quicker, like, hey, back to work. And plus you can do the exact same thing with the neg. So as a cinematographer, as you move in and you can really take a hold of the control of all the light and where it's coming from and exactly the amount of level that you want, you might as well do that. So you can use diffusion just out of the frame, use a neg, and that way when we move into this next shot, again, okay, so we're using these little things to shoot through, right? Like trying to confuse the viewer as much as we can because we're shooting through things and it makes it feel more three-dimensional. You can see the light. This shot, I mean, this is a piece of diffusion over here from that wide, and you can say to the first AD, yeah, we're ready to roll, basically. Maybe we bring in a little bit of neg over here on this side just to keep things dark on this arm or something like that, but really it's just diffusion and softening it off so these shadows soften off, and then this becomes the credit card shot, right? Little line of highlights, light going over the hands, creating a little shadow down here, and then look at the amount of layers that is even in this shot. So we got this little thing here, we got this going this direction, we got the line of the pin, we got the arm, the table is going this way, we got this little thing here, this little box that is, you know, we're trying to get as much depth as we can out of all the items. Nothing is flat to camera. Flat to camera, not good, okay? If you take any way away from this video, take away flat to camera is not good. This is what you want to see. You want to see this light going over things, working hard to get around, over, because that will create the light, the dark to light, dark, light, dark, light, just interest all across the frame, and then using the composition, using the lens size to be able to create some interest and direct people exactly where to look. Okay, that is going to do it for this little look. If you're interested in more of this stuff, might do this commercial on Patreon this week. We will see, just to get into everything and look at all of the different setups and scenarios, because there's lots of them in here. Then check out the Patreon channel below, right? It is there, a big community of cinematographers, directors, people that are interested in filmmaking, that are looking to try and get better. So that is there. Many thanks for checking out the video, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye.